You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Feeling lucky? All bets are on Bookie, the hilarious comedy from Chuck Lorre and Nick Bakay, starring Sebastian Maniscalco as an old-school bookmaker just trying to stay alive in a world of bad beats. Does a house always win? Find out as Bookie returns for Season 2, December 12th on Max. Please watch responsibly.
Now's a good time to remember where the story of tequila started. In 1795, the first tequila distillery was opened by the Cuervo family. And 229 years later, Cuervo is still going strong. Family owned from the start, same family, same land. Now's a good time to enjoy Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Go to Cuervo.com to shop tequila or visit a store near you. Cuervo, now's a good time. Trademarks owned by Becle, SAB the CV. Copyright 2024. Proximo. Jersey City, New Jersey. Please drink responsibly.
Greg Cote just said to me, and I don't know what it's about, we'll get to it in a second, I'm so sick of what he did last night. So I'm curious where that's going to end up. Yep. I want to delve into a interaction that I had with Lucy, whose stardom is going to her head. I came in today and I'm like, Lucy, I've got a compliment and 2 bits of constructive criticism. And her response to me was, I'll take only the compliment.
That's how you do it.
And Billy, I can't believe what I just heard, and it's where I need to start. That felt like heartfelt gratitude from Stugotz, as close as he can come to sincerity, when he just said to you right before we started, thank you for your betting advice last night.
The BBBs.
He was thanking you because you gave him some bets, and he went 3-0 last night, and he's just taking your Billy's Big Board bets from the award-winning God Bless Football, which is making the next stop in its American tour in Miami, the first stop that is in Miami of any kind.
Thank
but
God.
The next stop in God Bless Football's American tour is Sunday for Jets-Dolphins, where we will be gathering to enjoy football together.
It's a big game, Dan.
As a show.
Yep, a big one.
What was the gratitude that he was showing you? Did you have the overs last night? Did you have a lot of betting overs last night? Is that what happened on the football game?
Well, I'm surprised, honestly, that he thanked me. Also, I was surprised to get a text from him that said, "What are the picks today?" And I was like, well, this is not how this normally goes.
All you have to do is listen to your own show, Stugotz.
Well, I mean, yes, that too, obviously. I had told him earlier in the day, but normally he doesn't ask me, like, what should we do? And I had been going back and forth, and I had given him reasons yesterday at Billy's Big Boards Bets, brought to you by Bookie. We got a sponsor now, Bookie.
Yes.
Check it out, HBO Max. It's streaming now on Max.
Congratulations on the sponsorship that started with a B.
Yeah. No,
Chuck Lorre show.
Fit, yeah. And Nick Bakay.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Nick Bakay.
Yeah.
And Sebastian Maniscalco. I wonder what he's up to.
He's joining us today. He's going to be on with us. But you mentioned Nick Bakay. Can I classify him as a great television writer? Because I feel like I can. He's a great comedy writer, and I think he's a great television writer.
He was the talking cat in Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Well, that's it.
Now I know.
Yeah.
And wasn't he like a weekly guest in the early days of the show?
He was, yes. Yeah.
Really? In our show?
Yeah.
He was on weekly.
How do I know that?
Yes, he was, Dan.
True.
Yes, he was.
That's not true.
Yes, he
Against
was.
one, he was.
That's Nick Bakay was a weekly. No, that's not right.
Dan, he was.
He was.
I mean, I'm telling you.
But how and why would Nick Bakay be a weekly guest on our show?
Well, he would show up weekly.
Yeah. That feels like the time, like, in the show where it's like we just got to grasp at ESPN any way that we can. Nick Bakay, weekly? Yes.
I still don't agree with that.
He promoted
that's
the Char Hut,
something
I
that we
think.
did.
Put it on the poll. Was Nick Bakay ever a regular guest on the Le Batard show?
And when it comes back, overwhelmingly, yes. Dan's still not going to believe.
It's not going to come.
It's not going to come. Like, no one. If Dan doesn't remember it, our listeners.
I'm telling you,
the vast majority of our listeners joined us well after this.
I know, but they know, Mike. I'm telling you, it's going to come back a resounding yes. I mean, Nick Bakay was a staple on the show for a long time.
Billy, you're on the YouTube comments. Do we have any support for Nick Bakay was a weekly guest on this show?
Let me check.
He most certainly was a talking cat.
If you guys had told me before we started today, Dan, you have to be right with your answer or there are dire consequences. So take this question seriously. Has Nick Bakay ever been on your show? My answer would have been no.
Really?
Wow.
How can you be so wrong?
Wow.
Yeah, it's not going to come up in the computer because it predates the.
Yeah,
the
of course. It predates people speaking words.
Computer.
There is no recorded history of this. As Nick McKay, they've got him as a weekly guest, and there's just no way that happened. Maybe I'd be willing to grant you that he was on a time or two, but a weekly guest, my ass.
That
is not something that happened.
He was given picks a time or two.
Picks.
I would say that Nick McKay is in the top 10 guests that we've had on.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I'm loving my ally right now.
It's Kirchin, it's Mortensen, and it's Nick McKay. I mean,
he was our first ever celebrity prognosticator before we even gave it a name.
Yeah.
He was the original Mike Schur.
Kind of, yeah. He was also our betting expert, though, because he does gamble a lot. Like, if he was on with us at all, it would have been as our betting expert.
Seeds of it coming back to you,
well,
Dano.
It's not coming back to me.
If he was on with us at all, he was giving picks.
That would have been, because the reason I was denying that he was ever on with us is because I'm like, I wouldn't have a comedy writer on just because I don't know all of his work, and I'm not necessarily a fan of being able to speak to you what he's done that is the best thing he's done. I just know he's a very good writer, and he used to write a gambling column for ESPN. So now that you mentioned that, we may have gone to him for gambling expertise on an occasion, but not weekly.
May have occasion, huh?
The gambling thing didn't make sense until I went and I saw he wrote Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. That was a gamble.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I don't believe that we had a funnier moment on yesterday's show than all the time that Lucy spent with braying laughter in the face of a pepper-sprayed colleague, friend, and employee of Metal Art, Rose, who has now risen to national attention because she got pepper-sprayed during the Michigan-Ohio State game. Guys, go ahead and just put in the corner of the screen what is in the preview right now of Jameis Winston before the game being introduced. I just want to talk about Jameis Winston in a second because
he's great.
That whole experience last night is the Jameis experience. Everyone in the world knows you can't go full Jameis. Don't go full Jameis. That's what happens when you go full Jameis. It's going to be 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. It's going to be, he throws for 5,000 yards. It's 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. You go 7-9, 7-10.
It's going to be fun, though. It's going to be entertaining. That's for sure.
It is, but you're going to lose. It is amazing to see that offense look that way when you just say, screw it. Just when you just say, look, it's not going to be Deshaun Watson checking down 4-yard passes, holding the ball too long anymore. It's just Jameis is going to drop back, and he's not going to be afraid of anything. We'll get to that in just a second, though. But I have in our database some sound, I am told, that is Rose making the honking sound that she made when she was pepper sprayed yesterday. I am...
It's funny, right?
Give me the human being.
Yes. Well, give me the entire sound. So we have some of the earlier sound that is sort of ambient noise, and explain how we got there. Because Bomani Jones, Mike Ryan now has an ally in Bomani Jones. He wants more rules. He wants to forbid flag planting throughout sports, and Mike Ryan is very pleased to have an ally here because he was feeling a little bit alone on everybody on the internet just shouting him down yesterday, saying if you don't want them to plant a flag on your field, don't let them win on your field.
Or get turf.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I had Bomani there because he's so much smarter than I am, and he has this brilliant way of putting it in real life terms. Like, they lose a game. What is happening afterwards is not part of the game. Yes, you have to be a good loser during the game. You also have to be a good winner after the game. And very clearly, as 22 FBS teams got involved in altercations because of stuff like this, the players don't respond well to it. It will start fights. Remove the thing that starts the fights. Here's Bomani.
Everywhere where there was a flag planting, there was a tussle. Everywhere. And I'm here to say they gotta outlaw flag plant. Unless fighting is allowed, you have to outlaw anything that is guaranteed to start a fight. And if you try to plant the flag, we gotta fight. We all agree with that, right? If you are on the other team and you watch somebody plant the flag, are you not obligated to fight? But you don't want them to fight. And since you don't want them to fight, you got to ban the practice. Now, I have seen people make the argument that if you don't want them to plant the flag, then you should have won the game. That feels like a slippery slope. Do I have to let you holler at my girl too? I mean, you the big bad winner. You get to do whatever you want after this. There's no level of disrespect that I do not get to enforce against just because I didn't win the game? Do you get to spit in my face too? No, I didn't have the whole game to fight. We was playing a motherfucking game. We wasn't allowed to fight during the game. What are you talking about? They are not fighting because they lost the game. They are fighting because you try to play in their faces. Every single person that has ever gone to plant a flag like that, every single one of them would be down to fight if somebody planted the flag. And not only would they be down to fight if somebody planted the flag, the whole reason that they want to do it is because it is the height of disrespect. And what have I told you many times about disrespect? Disrespect will not be tolerated. Everywhere where there was...
It's so obvious what he's saying in my mind. There's no greater display of unsportsmanlike behavior to me right now than planting that flag. You've just beaten a team on their own home turf, and you're going to do that? You don't see that in other sports, right? When one NBA team beats another in a heated game, you don't see the winning players doing that. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's because you can't get it into the court. It'll just bounce. It'll just bounce right back.
Well, I didn't mean flag planting exactly, but that equal of disrespect you don't see in other sports.
Mike, you have a second ally. I mean, how about that?
I'll go into battle, waving our flag. Greg, Cote, and Bomani Jones. It stands to reason, guys. I understand. Beat them in the game so you don't have to deal with that. Everybody knows the intention when someone tries to do that. It is a disrespectful act. You're trying to get one over on somebody else. These are prideful people, and to allow that, you're going to have your fans saying, don't allow that. You're going to have your entire locker room, the camaraderie of the locker room, say, you can't allow that to happen. So just take it away. It's a dumb practice. It's a fairly recent thing. Yeah, you can pick historical outliers of this happened in 1972 or whatever. This is a recent trend, and it needs to be nipped.
So what do? They put a rule you're not allowed to do it because, I hate to tell you, there's a rule that you're not allowed to storm the field, and no one abides by that.
Right.
Well, that's another thing that should probably be gone to because it's percolating, and it's probably going to end up badly.
Greg, forgive me, because one of the things that happens on Tuesday is you sometimes cover ground that we already covered the day before because you haven't listened to the previous day's show. So I'm going to cut you off before we get stuck in this quicksand again. I'm just going to tell you the part that I disagree with that Bomani said we all agree with, even though the numbers suggest this season that if that's the disrespect, it is going to end in a fight. We don't actually have to agree that disrespect always ends in a fight. I understand the way that we all are really precious about the culture of this sport, but it's a stupid symbolism. You can take it as disrespect if you want, and it can escalate to the place that you fight. But in my experience, I'm not handling a situation like that arrives with that kind of disrespect immediately with a fight. I understand that I'm dealing with different kinds of people in a different setting, and I understand how it escalates to a fight. But I'm not agreeing with the premise that disrespect has to immediately result in a fight.
That didn't happen with Iowa and Nebraska when they didn't shake hands. And that was arguably way more egregious than all the stuff that happened at Ohio State, Michigan. Way more disrespectful.
You can expect human beings to show a modicum of I'm not going to resort to violence because of the symbolic stupid act of disrespect.
We're talking about planting a flag, okay? Bomani took it to an extreme place. No, you can't have my girlfriend. No, you can't spit in my face. But you know what? After I beat you on your field, I'm going to plant my flag right on your logo. Who cares?
Exactly. The aliens didn't do it when we planted the flag on the moon.
I mean, you keep saying who cares. The players obviously care. Everyone cares about it. And Dan said you can take it as disrespect. The intention is 100% to disrespect.
Okay, but so let's do it this way. If we can all agree, spitting in the face, taking your husband or wife, those are greater disrespects. I'm asking you, where the hell is the line on this? Because you're telling me it's flag planting. I'm like, no, it's not. Spitting in the face? Yeah, okay, I can agree with you. I'm saying that the act as a symbol is stupid. And only in the stupidity of this particular cauldron is it going to be viewed as that kind of a disrespect. Because of everything that everyone's doing and because of all the war terminology that's around this culture, the idea of protecting the home court has to be protected with violence. It's stupid. It's not grown up. It's not adult to be super sensitive to disrespect.
Why are you all of a sudden confused as to where the lines are? The lines are clearly outlined in every other professional sport except for hockey, where they allow them to fight.
The reason I'm asking you where the lines are is because we can agree over the weekend a player threw a football in the face of another player who wasn't wearing a helmet after a play, hit him in the face. We can all agree that that is a penalty, but we can't all agree on what is over celebration. We can't, because we've been doing it for 30 years in baseball and everywhere else. We don't all agree on where over celebration is. That's not something that comes with consensus agreement, and I'm generally against the very idea of forbidding and bringing more rules to sports, bringing a whole bunch more rules to sports.
I think there are degrees on what is over celebration, but I do think that there's a general understanding on what is unsportsmanlike in sports. I think to suggest anything otherwise is pretty much a bad faith gambit, because we know what unsportsmanlike conduct is, generally speaking. Does it depend on which human is part of the officiating crew that day? Sometimes, but I think we know.
Straw man. I don't believe it's a straw man that we all agree on what unsportsmanlike is. You love a program where people have been arguing for 30 years about whether your entire University of Miami program is unsportsmanlike, and those Miami players didn't agree with you that it was unsportsmanlike, and I'm sure the Colorado players wouldn't agree with you that everything they were doing at Oklahoma State on Saturday was unsportsmanlike, because we've gotten numb to that particular disrespect. That one's so in sports now that you can do the Kai Cenat dance last night in the end zone, and nobody's finding any of that disrespectful.
Planting a flag is disrespect because you're dealing with a bunch of kids who aren't necessarily fully developed human beings. I know I wasn't when I was 18 or 19. If somebody plants a flag, I'm heartbroken right now, right? My team has just fought in its game of the year and lost a game they weren't expected to lose. And the opponent's going to do that in my face? Yeah, I might not punch him, but I'm going to grab that flag from him. It's very simple. Ban flag planting. The person who plants that flag against the rules should be suspended for the next game, and their team should have a 15-yard penalty to begin the next game.
Banning it.
There's no next game, though.
Right. That was it.
Also, like, if you're Ohio State,
a bowl game.
You have more to lose if you're Ohio State, right? Like, you could potentially get your season. Okay, congratulations, Michigan. You won the game. Also, we're going to the playoffs, and you're not, because you sucked this year, and you didn't cheat, so you didn't win this year. But they could get themselves hurt. They could get themselves suspended. Like, I understand that it's disrespectful, but, like, you kind of need to try to have somewhat of a level head, which is hard to do in a rivalry game when you're young and the adrenaline is going. But, like, you have more to lose if you're Ohio State than Michigan in that spot.
I think it falls down on the coaches a lot, where, like Greg said, this is a point I kept trying to make yesterday. These are 18-year-old kids. Their frontal lobes are not fully developed. You saw this start to happen with A&M in Texas. Texas was planning on going to plant the flag at A&M, and Sark came in and cut that shit right then and there, where you have the flip side of it, where Ohio State, Michigan, Ryan Day was just hanging out, just watching all happen.
He was stunned in his defense.
He was definitely in shock, his own fault. But I do think that, like, you shouldn't be fighting. We don't want you to fight, but we're holding these 18-year-olds to judgment that they don't have quite yet, because we were all dumbasses when we were 18, except for me. I've always been smart and brilliant and perfect.
But is it fair to posit that, okay, it's on the players to not be so hot-headed and be able to take that. It's on the coaches to wrangle them. But the inconsistency here for me is it's all on the program to police it themselves when you don't have the governing authority doing anything about it. So I would suggest have that rule there too. Are people going to break that rule? Probably. Will it lead to fights? Yes. Will it lead to 22 in a weekend? Probably not.
Bold of you to think college football has a governing authority.
Well, this is the thing, though, that you guys are doing that is super interesting to me, even as, and I will say this part again from yesterday, I understand that we don't want the escalation into a fight where someone actually gets hurt. I have, however, been consistent in the idea of the games, to me, are more fun and more fun to watch when I've got people clucking at the television about wanting more respect with their games, with their behavior, more respect. I want more respect on the game. And I'm generally like, nah, we don't need to respect all of that much. We respect it plenty already, the way that we behave around all of this. And I buck on the idea of we're all aghast watching our television and all of us are like, ooh, that was disrespectful what they did there, because it's all meant to be entertainment, and you can control both your players and your temper. Like, they have discipline, these athletes, in a lot of other realms. Like we're saying, we're infantilizing them by making them children, but they're asked to be disciplined in a lot of other ways, and in this way they can't be asked to be disciplined.
Why are we making them all children? Will Howard is 23 years old. He's 23. There are 25-year-olds playing college football right now.
Yeah.
That's not like the majority of players. Most players are younger.
They're not all 18 and 19 either, though.
Again, we're watching professional sports now, and you're watching professional entertainment. That's what college football is, with a governing body that is weak and trying to figure out the rules as it goes along.
So just to be clear, we're trying to establish a line of where disrespect is in terms of planting a flag or not, and then an additional line to figure out at what age they're no longer children and they are fully formed adults, and they should know better.
Yeah. Look, this was all bad, okay? However, we did get the sound of Rose screaming from it, which was a little bit incredibly hilarious and funny.
All right.
And the funniest thing that's ever happened.
Give me the context so that Greg can hear it of where it is that it sounded like somebody stepped on a goose. Give me all of the context. That is Rose at the bottom of the scrum. Lucy, I don't think it's right the way that you continue to laugh. I think that's disrespectful.
I don't care.
I know. Yeah, there you go. We have a different definition of disrespect there, and you don't care. And I just planted my flag on you laughing at your friend is disrespectful, and you don't care.
Well,
it's going to lead to a fight.
I mean, okay, I get it. You're the dice man. You're in your cool jacket, and you're saying, I like the disrespect, and I like this within the game. I get it, but
I didn't say that.
I
didn't say that.
Why'd you make him the dice man?
Because he's trying to be the dice man.
Yeah.
Like, let's have some fights. We like this stuff, and I'm lame by comparison.
You can't reach, huh?
It is completely within the realm of possibility that one of these things is going to happen again while there are fans on the field, and you're going to also ask for innocent bystanders that are rushing the field to also keep a level head, and there's going to be a really ugly situation that is going to mortify everybody. It's going to lead the Today Show, and everything is going to be removed. I love that college football and college athletics gets to do things differently, gets to occupy a space in sports, in global sports, that no one else does. And I think if you just take away the flag planting, the benefits outweigh the negatives, because we get to keep all these wonderful traditions and avoid a really ugly scene where there's an overcorrection.
You make it sound like we're going to lead the Today Show as a bad thing, and I just sort of disagree.
Well, Dan,
with
there's going to be helmet swingings, violence, possibly death. Okay, like you're gonna have people swinging helmets, and you're gonna have fans on the field.
This is why you sound like Judd Apatow after Chris Rock got slapped. Possibly death.
Let's say you have a flag planting, and you have a Myles Garrett situation, and you also have 18-year-old college students rushing the field. That shit can get out of hand. Mob mentality. It's a bad situation, and the seeds of it are, after we finish playing this fun little game, we're going to disrespect you. And at the height of emotion and physically drained, it's a human reaction. Not everybody's going to be aligned. There's about 80 guys on this roster. One of them is going to take offense to someone else intentionally disrespecting them.
The reason that America is in the place it is right now in terms of divisions, almost more than any other, is someone's going to take offense. And then the person who's offended that person is saying, that's not offensive to me. It's only offensive to you. You're taking away my freedom.
But let me say, it's bullshit to tell a player to not be offended when the seeds are universally, I'm here to disrespect you with this act. You can't expect an entire team and an entire fan base to not be feeling disrespect when that's the entire intention.
Not only that, but the flagpole is a dangerous weapon. It's got a point on the end. I mean,
one guy threw it like a javelin.
Somebody
we played
can poke
like a
an eye
minute
out.
montage, and I don't know if he was throwing it to get it away.
That escalated quickly. Somebody threw a javelin.
You can poke an eye out with that thing.
Worse than that. And sports legislates disrespect all the time. It's called unsportsmanlike conduct.
But it's usually people making the rules for the employees who don't think very much like the employees, don't look like the employees, didn't have the same experience as the employees, the ones making the rules. Not necessarily in this case, but in too many of the cases.
Rose is the one who got pepper sprayed. Rose should decide what happens.
Okay, well, we're having a problem with Rose, and I thank you for this, because Rose is at the hospital right now, and she has been injured by this pepper spray incident, and I think is Izzy with her right now? Is he doing some sideline reporting? Is Izzy going to interview her, or am I interviewing Rose? What is happening here? Rose, can you tell me what it is that's happening here with you? Where are you?
I don't know. In a hospital. They did not tell me where they took me, but I'm surrounded by sick people and me.
Okay, so what happened?
Well, actually, I got pepper sprayed on my left eye, but they told me that you feel it more in the other eye, so I'm not gonna show you the other eye. It's even worse.
Right.
I don't.
Everyone knows that.
I don't.
It's what happens when you get pepper
I don't
sprayed.
understand.
It's always the other eye.
It moved to the other eye.
It
So you got pepper sprayed in the left eye, but you've got an eye patch on your right eye.
Yeah, that's how the human body works.
Yeah.
You feel the pain in the other side.
Eye bone's connected to the eye bone, yeah.
All right. So, and how are you feeling right now?
Well, all of my faculties are lost because even I fell yesterday and look. More.
Oh, wow.
Showing us
So-
It jumps under the knee.
Okay.
That's a left knee,
all
right.
of your faculties are lost. I
All
don't
of
think
my
that's.
faculties
I don't
are
think
lost.
that's accurate. I believe you're overstating things. That you've lost all of your faculties. You're speaking to us. and
It's
you
her
just-
injury,
You
Dan.
just,
Pepper spray.
yeah, but she doesn't get to appraise it however she wants factually.
Don't minimize
She
her
got pepper sprayed.
experience,
She can
yeah.
say whatever she
Okay.
wants.
All right.
That's what flag planting leads to.
Okay, so Rose, where are we headed with all of this? Like, are you mad at the company? Who's liable for everything that happened here?
Well, I've been advised not to say anything. We don't know yet.
Smart.
Who am I suing? But I've been getting a lot of calls from a lot of lawyers that I cannot take anymore. And
telling you
actually,
what.
Really?
it's too much. I had to hire an assistant to take them. And look, another call.
Okay.
I cannot take them anymore.
Okay.
So
yes.
I have a lot of people wanting to represent me, but we still don't know who is liable.
Okay, thank
lawyers
you, Rose. Yeah, the
right.
lawyers.
That's why they're calling you.
I suspect the lawyers will think that Metalark is liable. Thank you, Rose, for your work. Anything else we need to know about the incident? Any information that Lucy did not bring us because she was too busy laughing and pointing at you?
Well, she left me hanging in there, and I was crying, and my eye I couldn't see, and they ran the other way with Harry, and I was like, "Why? Where are you going? You're my only hope." So,
Wow.
yeah,
Dramatic.
that's how it was.
Hope you like Indianapolis, Rose. I'm leaving your ass there this weekend.
You feel betrayed by Lucy? How did you feel when you looked up through your eyes and couldn't see, but could hear Lucy just laughing at you? She was also pointing at you.
Oh, I felt like I was dying. I was like, oh, I'm gonna die alone, and the only thing that I had was two players that I didn't even know their names. So I felt so alone.
So 2 players from Michigan rushed to your aid?
Yeah, and they even gave me their towel. So I have a towel to remember.
Sweaty towels.
Okay, they're sweaty towels. That's very nice.
Yeah.
But all of this was happening. How did you feel about Lucy explaining that she has a coping mechanism that when she's scared and uncomfortable, she just laughs?
You know, I was like, okay, this is what I get to travel with Lucy. So I just have to accept it.
Okay. Well, you can sue her too, but you're not talking about that right now. We'll see what the lawyers say.
What if I sue Rose? I let her use my scarf to get the pepper spray out of her eye. It was a new scarf.
Yeah.
Property damage.
Thank you, Rose. Get out to wherever it is that Tony is. We have to check in with him for the top 5.
Can't.
We're going to keep you
She
working.
lost her faculties.
My eyes
In the hospital.
My eyes are the
You're
only
putting her
thing
to work,
I need to work, and
Is that a faculty?
I don't have them anymore.
I know, but we need to get you over to where it is that Tony is. So get out of that hospital, check yourself out, pull the wires out of your arms, and get over and produce Tony wherever he is, please. Thank you. Oh, wow. Okay. Very heroic.
Whoa!
Yes, she is whipping out, whipping
It's a
off the eye patch.
miracle.
That eye seems to be in better shape than you alleged that it was.
Her faculties are back.
She has now got her faculties back.
What happened to Izzy? I mean,
I thought that Izzy was going to be the sideline reporter on that. I don't know what happened
I think everyone needs to just relax. You know what? Let's go to a different place right now. I want to go to a beach. Everyone shut your eyes. Let's just relax. Just relax.
The gulls are chirping.
Let's just. All right, we're good now.
thank you. Thank you for that. Yes.
Very calming.
Do you have any other sound that can get us a bit of a sorbet?
All right, you know what? Let's relax. You know what? Let's all start our car in the rain. The windshield out there. We gotta get this rain off of him.
It was like Rose pouring out. Yeah.
Generally speaking,
Take me back to the beach.
Please.
Generally speaking, the joke doesn't work when you have to explain to us with words and your arm what it is you were trying to do with a windshield wiper there.
Greg, wake up.
Is that common?
Oh, turn that alarm off. All right. Back to you
I
guys.
thought those were the windshield wipers.
Starting a car is calming? Could blow up on you.
Back to the beach.
Let's go back to the beach, and the only one of those 3 that worked. I don't know what kind of judgment you
I got
were
one
using.
more.
Oh my God!
I want to hear.
I mean, there's there's so much traffic today.
Wow.
Major penalty, 5 minutes, swooning comedy.
All right, we'll go back to the beach.
5 minutes. I mean,
Yeah, get out of here. You've been playing that sound way too much.
that's so good, though.
because you can't be controlled.
Hey DraftKings fans, are you ready to elevate your game day snacking experience? This college football season, we're feeling the cheesiest with Cheez-It. That's right, delicious Cheez-It crackers not only satisfy your snack cravings for game day excitement, but they are also amplifying your football watching experience with a new daily fantasy sports game. Best of all, since Cheez-Its is made with 100% real cheese, the game is 100% free to play with a chance of winning real cash. Be sure to carefully select your favorite Cheez-It flavor to snack on. White cheddar, extra toasty, or maybe you're an OG fan, while you select your weekly players for college football's cheesiest challenge all season long. So snack and play like a champ with Cheez-It.
Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com/Cheez-It for full details.
Howdy, folks. It's Mike. By now, you know how about game time I am. And I'm converting my friends and my family one by one, and I'm converting listeners. Thank you for letting me know that you guys have turned to, for my money, the greatest app on the secondary ticket marketplace. It is the best place to get tickets to in-demand concerts, comedy shows, games, you name it. And Game Time has this amazing new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. With Game Time Picks, it helps make curation easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and it features all-in pricing. This, to me, is one of the best of many great features. You click a little tab, and there are no surprises at checkout, and you also get panoramic seat views. You know exactly what you're getting yourself into. Take the guesswork at buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
Folks, listen up. The Emirates NBA Cup is here. You can win big getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Will LA repeat? We'll find out. There's sure to be rim-rattling slams and no-look passes that bring the crowd to their feet. Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DAN. That's code DAN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball.
Dan Batard.
It's the classic first ballot Hall of Famer, the musical fart. Okay, where it can be a creaking door.
Right.
It can be an orchestra tuning up before a concert, and the bassoon is a little bit off key, and it comes out like that.
Stugotz.
The musical fart. It's a beauty. It is a beauty. Me. Sorry. Shit.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I will say this is a big week for Stugotz in a number of different ways. On Thursday, he and Greg Cote will be going to a church to sign copies of their book because their following is so large that they don't fit in a bookstore. On Sunday, God Bless Football lands at a Christmas mall. Vivo. You've got Stugotz, God Bless Football, Billy, and all of us really are doing a watch party for Jets and Miami Dolphins. And I believe somewhere in everything that we are doing, that all of this is going to the head of publishing giant Stugotz. And yesterday, Mike, I will tell you that Stugotz left here disappointed and saying that Mike Ryan failed to give us and the audience what it is that we wanted yesterday, because all season around the University of Miami, you have been in tone reasonable and not publicly just unhinged like you have been on the Heat for several seasons. And Stugotz felt like we were denied what people came here for yesterday, which was to feel University of Miami football pain on a game that Greg Cote is calling an epic embarrassment. An epic embarrassment is what Greg Cote says it is.
I know how much this means to Mike Ryan, and so yesterday, because it does, it means a lot to you. You're a big part of the program. You love the Miami Hurricanes, and so I wanted to feel your emotion yesterday. You were very calm, you were very cool, you were very collected. You weren't fighting for your team to get into the playoffs. I wanted to see some fight. I wanted to feel some pain yesterday. I got nothing. So what I've decided to do on God Bless Football this week, because Syracuse deserves it. Fran Brown, and Kyle McCord. Yeah.
Well, he was also talking about having both Gadsden's.
Oh, I should, yeah.
Both the Rondé
Gadsden's cutting it up. I mean,
I kind of feel like I delivered on the pain. A year after propagandizing that the SEC is overrated and the gulf between the two conferences isn't really all that much there, which I think has further proof by Georgia Tech's performance at Georgia. 2 days afterwards, I said Miami shouldn't be in the college football playoff. I look back on videos from yesterday, and I'm embarrassed. I don't recognize that guy. And all it took was seeing the SEC hype machine and propaganda machine turning, and people call Miami a fraud. Randy Scott getting in the mix, saying, put the town on alert. Miami is a fraud. A fraud? Because they lost by 2 games by a combined 9 points, one to a ranked Syracuse team? No, a fraud goes to a 6-win SEC school and gets blown out 24-3. A fraud also goes to a 6th-win Vanderbilt, a place where Nick Saban said it's a joke to play at, and loses as a massive favorite.
Alabama 1-3 against bowl teams this year. Alabama
bowl teams on the road. There's very tiny print on that graphic. People also say, like, well, what would have happened to Miami if they played in the SEC or the Big Ten? We saw how Miami would play against a mid-table SEC team. They blew them the hell out. They
beat Florida at Florida.
They destroyed Florida to the point that people were turning the game off. They destroyed Florida. I think the only difference in Miami's season, if they play in the SEC, they maybe have a win or two more that you against an established brand that you think is bigger and better than maybe beating the likes of 9-win Duke or a very good Louisville team that had a ridiculous schedule this year. The difference between Miami being in and being out in the eyes of many is the fact that they're not in those power conferences. They would be the exact same team. They have a top 25 offense. They have a top 25 defense, if you can believe it or not. All the other teams that are in that group are playoff teams.
You truly believe that they'd be in the playoff if they're in the SEC and they're not because they're in the ACC?
Yes, I would. Okay. And you know how? Texas A&M was a game away from being in the SEC championship game. Georgia is in the SEC championship game, and they stole a game from Georgia Tech at home. They were down 14 with 5 minutes left. So it's that kind of attitude, and I understand it. It's just poison throughout the nation because everyone thinks that the SEC is something that it is not. I really am trying to convey to you as much as I can, yeah, Miami would probably be a 10-win team, which matters. You have them clumped in with these teams that have one more loss. I think in a year like this year, where there's about 30 good teams that can beat anybody because the talent has been spread out, wins and losses matter. So I think on the merit of their argument is Miami should be in. Miami should absolutely be in. Now, they should be knocked out if Clemson wins that game, which is essentially a home game because Clemson doesn't deserve to be in the CFP, but if they win the conference championship, they get in, and Miami would be knocked out. But I think Miami, South Carolina, Alabama, disqualify Bama. Those losses are so bad. And USC, the Cox have one more loss. That matters. Miami never got blown out at home by Ole Miss.
I think it does sort of like the A&M thing is kind of where I push back a little bit. Like Miami, if they had A&M's schedule, would most likely get 10 wins in the SEC. But A&M lucked out this season. Avoided Bama, avoided Georgia, avoided Vanderbilt. You know, like it's and when A&M
avoided Vanderbilt, I'll never get used to that. I will never get used to that.
But what? Like I wish we could play Alabama right now. Yeah. And see who's better because avoided Bama, Miami would beat Alabama.
But the thing is like the point I'm making is like you don't know if you're going to get A&M's schedule or Georgia's schedule. And when A&M had to play good teams, when they had to play Notre Dame, they lost. When they had to play Texas, they lost. They got blown out by Texas despite what the score said. Like I do think it's very much like you can't necessarily even make the argument anymore, I think, so much, whether like this conference is so much better, and if we had been in this conference, it would have been different, because you could arguably say the Big Ten is the best conference, but yet Indiana managed to go through most of that schedule without having to face anyone. We kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday, but the conferences have expanded so much that like you're not necessarily getting the full conference, because you could be in the Big Ten and you could play Wisconsin, Nebraska, Minnesota, Purdue every year, and that's going to be very different than playing Ohio State, Michigan. So, like, I don't necessarily know if even the conference comparisons are valid anymore in the grander scheme of things.
You and I sound completely aligned. I don't think there is much a difference between the Big Ten and SEC and ACC. The head-to-head metrics actually bear this out. Miami's got a winning record against the Big Ten. They were right there in terms of record with the SEC. I mean, what more evidence do you need to have this year that the SEC isn't all that good but it's parity. They're all beating each other up because it's so difficult. Louisville won by 40 at Kentucky.
Kentucky is a terrible football team. That is a horrible example.
Yeah, but they also beat Ole Miss.
But that is they are genuinely an awful football team. Like that's not an accurate example.
Miami would beat these teams like South Carolina.
Everyone would beat Kentucky.
Like South Carolina and Alabama. You keep doing that, but it's perception.
Well, I'm glad you're fighting. So, I mean, that's a good start, but I disagree with you.
Okay. Well, do you think Miami goes to Norman, Oklahoma and loses 24-3?
It was 24-7. Greg, you've been wanting to get in here for a while.
You can't equivocate the frustration Miami Hurricanes fans should be feeling right now. It was an epic embarrassment Saturday because they blew a 21-0 lead when they had everything to play for. It's an epic disappointment because it shades of 2017 when they were ranked number 2 for a minute and then had a terrible end to the season. Right now they're 9-0. They're ranked number 6. They're in the driver's seat. And all of a sudden they lose a game they shouldn't lose, and now they're scrambling. Now they're praying that Clemson loses a game. It's just an epic failure toward the end of what was a pretty glorious season.
I totally understand your argument here, especially in the sense that I do think conferences have leveled out a little bit more, but also at the same time, Miami avoided playing the 2 best teams in the ACC. They didn't play SMU and they didn't play Clemson, and they still lost 2 games. They lost 2 out of their last 3 games. You cannot do that if you want to make the college football playoff. I'm not making an argument that Alabama should be there. I don't want Alabama to be there, but also at the same time, don't lose to Syracuse. Don't lose to Georgia Tech.
Right. Well, they only lost twice. The other teams lost 3 times. The other teams got blown out, 24-3. South Carolina got blown out by Ole Miss, which lost to the crap Kentucky that we said before. Miami has shown you they're not able to be blown out this season.
But I think it also matters how you're playing right now. I don't think and I think one of the biggest issues with this, which is almost feels unrelated, but is that we don't have a set group of standards that the College Football Playoff Selection Committee has given us, saying this is what we look for. This is why we're choosing these teams. Because if it is overall body of work, then you might change your opinion. But also there is recency bias with a lot of these things. We're yes, South Carolina did lose to Ole Miss earlier in the season. We had to sit through that game. It was absolutely miserable. But they also just beat Clemson at Clemson and let their little chicken crap on the Clemson Tiger. That's it does matter how you're playing right now versus how you've played the entire season.
I will tell you what's happening here, which is funny. Billy's face, the entire in the corner there, feels like he's been eating lemons. This entire conversation, tremendous for college football. They don't want this to ever end. They don't want a clarity. They don't want something that is actually less nebulous than this, because this is the most profitable way to do it. We're going to get sad with Army-Navy here because there's going to be a month of no college football, and then the Bulls are going to come back, and arguing is a bigger sport in America right now than college football. Just arguing is a bigger sport. And what has happened here to Mike from yesterday to today, yesterday when he's saying they don't deserve to be in, today saying they deserve to be in, is because what has officially begun now is the real season for how do I get into this bowl game. Everybody trying to formulate the argument, because you know what they've turned college football into? Debate.
Yes.
It's debate television.
Always has been.
Here's how you get in. Don't lose to Syracuse.
That would have guaranteed it, but they had a 40.
But hold up, teams can lose an extra game.
No.
Lucy's point is that they lost 2 of their last 3. They lost 2 of their last 3 to good teams.
Right.
Georgia Tech's a good football team. They were without their 2 top quarterbacks for 3 weeks.
I know.
That's a good football team.
Yep.
Syracuse is ranked. Okay, it's not Oklahoma. It's not Vanderbilt.
Right.
It's not getting blown out. That is something that Miami has displayed time and time again is impossible to do thus far.
But, Mike, you cannot say that you are confident they would beat South Carolina and Alabama when you lost to Syracuse.
Syracuse is just as freaking good as those teams, and that's where the disconnect is. No.
Syracuse is not as good as South Carolina. They are not.
They're not. South Carolina beat Old Dominion by 4 freaking points. What are you talking about?
Why are you talking about September football? That's not
because
accurate
losses
right now.
happen in September, and they don't just get to be erased because they happen in the SEC. It doesn't just mean more because you won in November. It doesn't. A loss freaking matters. You know why they shouldn't be in the playoff over Miami? Because they lost 1 more fucking game.
Mike, I cannot understand you when you speak to me in that tone. I can't understand you when you speak to me like that.
Stugotz wins again!
Howdy, folks. It's Mike. By now, you know how about game time I am. And I'm converting my friends and my family one by one, and I'm converting listeners. Thank you for letting me know that you guys have turned to, for my money, the greatest app on the secondary ticket marketplace. It is the best place to get tickets to in-demand concerts, comedy shows, games, you name it. And Game Time has this amazing new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. With Game Time Picks, it helps make curation easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and it features all-in pricing. This, to me, is one of the best of many great features. You click a little tab, and there are no surprises at checkout, and you also get panoramic seat views. You know exactly what you're getting yourself into. Take the guesswork at buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
Now's a good time to remember where the story of tequila started. In 1795, the first tequila distillery was opened by the Cuervo family. And 229 years later, Cuervo is still going strong. Family owned from the start, same family, same land. Now's a good time to enjoy Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Go to Cuervo.com to shop tequila or visit a store near you. Cuervo, now's a good time. Trademarks owned by Becle, SAB The CV. Copyright 2024. Próximo. Jersey City, New Jersey. Please drink responsibly.